listened to the presentation, I was kind of thinking of, doesn't all those confrontations with artificial intelligence or with natural intelligence doesn't confront us with a new understanding of what it means to be human? Because what I find out is that most of the things we take for granted are completely underdetermined. What is intelligence? Okay, we can say intelligent is a goal-oriented behavior, and by learning to reach the goal better, then of course artificial intelligence and this natural intelligence would be intelligence, but it's not really defined. We have no definition of creativity. What is creativity? Can machines be creative? I think if we find a complete answer to what is creativity, then we can program it. Because then we could kind of make it into an algorithm. What is awareness? Yeah, so whatever we took for granted, because we thought we are the only intelligent things in this world, is now that we see that there had been always different intelligence, but there come at a variety of intelligence we cannot even imagine. Doesn't this questions a lot of the ideas of what it means to be human? I want to start with you.
Thank you. I think the notion of intelligence has been changing. So intelligence before the calculator machine was invented was to make maths. Then when we got the calculator, then actually making the maths is not so interesting. Maybe intelligence is what you do with the maths. And then I think, and even when I was studying AI at a postgrad level, the concept of intelligence was never defined, and I kept asking, what is intelligence? Because I have to model something, otherwise I'll not have a thesis. But nobody told me what is intelligence, so I began to, maybe intelligence is to do some pattern recognition, perhaps, and then using these patterns, identifying things, I don't know. But I think the moment we model it, we will shift the concept, because I think we are clever. In that respect. So if the machine can do it, so it's not intelligence anymore. And then what's creativity? It's the same thing. Now we talk about, okay, I have a creative machine that does things with, interacts with me on stage and so on. So I call it intelligence, but it's kind of subservient. It's serving my creativity. I would say, okay, it helps my creativity, but I see it that way. The moment we make a simulation or a model, it's not it anymore. It will be something else. That's how I see it. I don't know.
Just someone of you.
You've got the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
No, damn, yeah, because of course, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yes, that it's always a moving target where, like, once the machine can do it, we set the bar a little bit higher. So, well, ultimately, I think, I have a very simple model of what humans are. In some sense, it's like our brains are pattern processing machines, and all the organism is just there that our eyes and our senses get to see more information, so that our legs can move. So once we get bored at a certain place, that we get to see that we get new information. And in that sense, the same when I work, that the more I see something, the more I know it, then the quicker I get bored about it and I want something else. And so, same sense, even the machines that we build right now, the only problem is they might actually become better than ourselves in making interesting things, but they are actually limited by us then, because we only have a certain capacity to take in new information. So in that sense, it will be always in a balance. And on the other hand, we as humans are extremely flexible, and every challenge that we encounter, we find some solution around it. So if now the machines are doing more intelligent things or finding more intelligent solutions, we will adapt somehow. In that feedback loop, we might also just of course, so there's this kind of small zone where a feedback loop is surviving. So of course it might be that it's too much, right?
I think I would just add that also is intelligence. It's very specialist, isn't it? Machines can be very good at a specialist thing, but we can do so many different stuff. And to have a machine that would do exactly how we do things, so many things in parallel, I think that's quite a challenge.
I think
Maybe because to be a human, it's called to be curious, curiosity, feelings, soul, and something like this, to be sensual. And that's the reason why a human, why we are really creative, and the machine can support us in what we do, so that the composition, human and machine, could really work.
And I think in general it's a question if it is our goal to rebuild the human intelligence. So of course that's one of the, if you ask for definitions of artificial intelligence, then it comes to the point where it says it's the goal to artificially recreate the human intelligence, consciousness, etc. But I don't know if humans are the optimal, the proper measurement. So, exactly the benchmark. I don't know if humans are the benchmark for intelligence. Yeah.
If you look at the kind of the Enlightenment period since a few hundred years ago, our gaining knowledge was also always kind of a series of disappointments or disillusion. First of all, we were not in the center of the universe. Then we somehow were not that different from other creatures, and we have a common descendants with apes. Then Freud kind of said something about our subconsciousness. So all the time we learn that we are special in a way because we're a certain species that acts in a certain way, but we're not special in a very, very, very special kind of thing. And I guess that with every new field, technology or interaction, also with art, we learn even more how we are. It's kind of putting us into a perspective. And at the same time, of course, that doesn't mean that we're like have no value. We have a value, but we probably get closer to what it actually might be. And also, if you look at the analogies that have been used to describe the brain, it was kind of the brain works like a clock, a mechanical machine, and then it works like a computer, because this is the most complex thing we have available to make comparison. And I guess this will go on. I think we have not yet reached the point where we have found a proper
it's like
analogy.
A slime mold.
Even not even a slime mold. That is, we are far away from understanding what's going on. So it's still a journey. And there will be more disappointments coming along the way.
Well, you gave me another question, because since the Enlightenment, the Enlightenment was the confession that we are stupid, the confession of ignorance. Because before, people believed that everything which is worth to know is in the script, in the Bible, or So it was the first time people started to confess the ignorance and started to research. And the only thing which is completely increasing exponentially is ignorance. The more we research, the more we find out by how much ignorant we are. Now with the new astrophysics, we find out that most stuff in the universe is antimateria or anti-energy, where we have no idea what it is. So the more information we get, the more we know how ignorant we are, which at least can drive our curiosity for eternity.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with that. And with the ability of storing knowledge today, it's amazing that the amount of knowledge that we have access to, and yet we seem to not make good use of it, or just a very small part of the population actually uses this knowledge in a way that may be constructive for humanity. And we see very bad uses of these very large databases. And that's, I appreciate very much the kind of work you do, for example, and you as well, with having these networks learning thousands and thousands of images, but could be other things. And then using this in different ways rather than just retrieving the information for some sort of the identification of a person or whatever, but using this technology in creative ways and make use of it differently, not only as a catalog of stuff to be retrieved.
There's something like a special thing what I recognize during I work with in dialogue with the muse, that I will find new solutions for old problems. This is very special things what make me very happy about, because the new point of views that I didn't know before make this kind of project of very special, and I'm very progressive and future oriented. Yeah. And this is we didn't know exactly what happened, but there happened something great, I suppose.
To make machines more human, do we not only have to create artificial intelligence, but artificial ignorance? Would that be?
Well, I think there's already an abundance of that, right? I mean, like you say, there's lots of black matter and things like in this thing. Yeah, these models are very stupid at the moment, or very, very narrow in what they can do. So, well, I think I don't want the models, like the machines, to be more human. I mean, in a sense, yes, they should be human so we can naturally interact with them. But then, yes, it's much easier to make a new human, right? If you want more humans, then you make a human. So the machine should be rather doing something that...
And the porn helps.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I want something different than a human. That's like more like an alien almost, which can give me something I don't already know, which gives me new impulses, or lets me see the world in a different way, or recognize certain things that I haven't, in a way that I haven't seen them like this before. So yeah, so it's not my intention to make the machines more human-like.
Funny with the aliens, we had a Facebook comment. This is not a love event, this is an alien event. So I wanted to put a poster outside, aliens welcome.
No, I mean, yeah, aliens are always very welcome in some sense, because they are the ones that introduce something new into a system that might have become stale, right? Like if you are just like feeding on your own feces, then yeah, nothing will come out. So aliens of any kind are always adding to the diversity of the system and allows you to get new, interesting output.
It's very optimistic. They can also bring Black Death and epidemics, and so it depends.
But now we are actually immune against Black Death, or we have found a solution.
Yeah,
yes.
but the hard way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like
25% survive. But yeah, it's also could be a solution maybe.
If it's too easy, then yeah, everybody can do it. So it has to be hard to be.
I wanted to pick up on the inspiration in your conversation with the muse. You're kind of getting inspiration from the machine, so to say, and it's a kind of a dialogue. And if you look at the work from Eduardo, he's kind of in a dialogue with the slime mold. So would it be possible to use something like an artificial intelligence to mitigate a dialogue between humans and machines, but also between humans and other species? So like you probably know the Willem Flusser's book about the Vampirotoitis Infernalis, and in this kind of imaginative conversation, or not conversation, with an octopus that lives deep down in the ocean in a very different world, and how can we understand how it feels and thinks? And so maybe this could also be a source of inspiration if we really connect to different other species, not just to their inorganic, but also organic others and aliens.